trying to do an interview, but I would like to welcome everybody and thank you for your patience as we figure out some country logistics with Instagram. This is interview 185 on Ask Tamily, featuring Lauren, who you can see her beautiful face on screen, and her handle is @LBoogieTam. Today we are going to talk to Lauren and learn about her journey with the Tracy Anderson method, learn more about her and her life and her experience. And so I will be asking questions this way, which Lauren will respond to, and then she will also be able to see questions in the chat. So we are going to make a go of it and go ahead and get started. And I know that you already answered this, but because we are starting a new interview, I would like for you to just tell us kind of quickly, who are you, Lauren? Where are you coming to this interview from? Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into some questions about the method.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you over here. Thank you over here. I'm Lauren, @LBoogieTam. I am calling in from Abu Dhabi, where I live and work. I'm originally from the U.S., have traveled a little bit around, and would like to, first of all, thank you all for inviting me to do this interview in the first place, to you all in the audience for amazing patience and sticking with us, and just want to thank the Tamily.
As I figure out how to get on and off mute fast enough. So we also talked a little bit about this too, but I would love to hear a little bit more about how you got started with the method. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey and how long it's been?
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about that, so I'll say it again happily. I came to Tracy Anderson through rebounding. I love rebounding. I love the mini trampoline. I started doing that, adding that into exercising about 2015. Found her online and bought the DVD. Where did it go? I showed it oh, here it is. I'm going to show it again. Tracy's DVD. I've had many iterations of it. I don't think I said this earlier. I'll say it. This came with me around the world when I traveled to China. There's a copy of it in China somewhere where I left it when I left when I was living there. Anyway, yes, I love the trampoline, and just like many other people, I dabbled a little bit with the mat DVD and the trying, the dance cardios, and it's always kind of been sitting out there as something that I had wanted to, learn more about and try. And so I actually was moving to Abu Dhabi in the summer of 2019. And a couple of months before that, I just made the decision, that's it, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do the trial. I am going to build this habit and carry it with me in my new life, which is exactly what I did. And I have been a member of the online studio ever since. That was June 2019. And yeah, does that seem like a good summary?
I think it's perfect. And it's hard to believe that it's only been since 2019, because in many ways, personally, I feel like I've known you for decades, and I'm sure many members of the community feel the same way. And you touched a little bit in your explanation on dance cardio, and we would love to hear more about your dance cardio journey. Kind of what is your approach, and how do you incorporate that into your workout?
Yeah, I mean, right now in my life, the moment we're talking, I am all about low impact dance cardio. Show me your low impact dance cardio. Love that hashtag, love that routine. So I'm trying to do low impact dance cardio as often as I can during the week, while still being attentive to like my shins and my ankles, because I'm mostly on, sometimes on hardwoods, but mostly on tile. But I'm a big fan of the LIDC. I make a monthly playlist for it, which, so we're on almost at the end of Feb. I gotta get myself together for March and see what that's gonna look like. But yeah, I love it. I mean, I'll say too, so that's what this moment looks like, which is what I started with, the low impact. But I have had so much fun joining different like dance challenges through the Tamily. At the end of 2020, we did the 12 days of Christmas cardio. We, right before my surgery, which I can say a little bit about, so there's context if you want. I joined the bonus cardio challenge. That was super fun and really mentally helped me so much prepare for a really challenging physically and like mentally time. So yeah, I dance, cardio, and walking and rebounding are probably the three main ways I get my heart rate up.
Can you tell us a little bit about which mat work combinations you might also do, and how do you approach your cardio element, whether it's before you do the mat workout or after or a different time of day? Tell us a little bit about how do you fit it all in?
Yeah, thanks for that question, because it allows me to say something that I wanted to say during this interview, which is I definitely see myself as a student of TAM and a student of myself with TAM, with the method. So I started off very prescriptive, BMC, beginner mat class, followed by 30 minutes of low impact dance cardio. I was doing the mat first and then the dance cardio. But as I continued, and in that first like summer of 2019 to summer of 2020, I leveled up to IMC. But I also, that time period was also when I was meeting more people. I was like listening to Tracy in her talks. I was just learning from so many other Tammers, like what works for them. And I kind of shifted then to doing a little bit of dance cardio before working out regularly, and then moving into the mat. And that's where I've landed right now. But again, as a student of what works best for me, and that includes timing. So fun fact, I go back to the office either this week or next week. I'm still deciding that. And my schedule is going to, shift again, and that might dictate, timing and when I do what. So I'm just being real about it. I don't have like a prescriptive or an answer that is really advice to everyone, but that's what's working for me right now.
Well, I love that, because I also believe flexibility is the name of the game for longevity and consistency, right? And for some seasons it may work as a certain routine combination, and other seasons of life you may change it up. But that's kind of the beauty of the method and all of the options that are included with it. So I think that's great. I want to hear a little bit more about your workout partners, because you had talked about and referenced different dance cardio challenges, and we're familiar with some of the Zooms that you do, and also some really kind of fun special Zooms that we have done, over the past few years with like musical themes, for example. So tell us how workout partners also fit into this routine, and how does that help you kind of along your journey?
Yeah, I love that question. Thank you. Let's start with what you just said about the music themed TAMs, the ultimate workout partners. I mean, I'll start first by acknowledging that I'm wearing by the way, my Zoom Crew Lift Nation t-shirt for this interview. That, the Zooms are a big part, have been a big part of my TAM journey. That when I first joined Instagram, even though I was doing the workout alone, I really did feel like everyone on Instagram in the Tamily doing the workout was my workout partner. So I really, I had that sense. And being here, doing the workout at home, almost going on 3 years now, I have been really lucky. I'll come back to the Zooms and the themed TAM, to have a couple of workout partners locally. So I've TAMmed once, with Tam Nicola, our friend Nick here in Abu Dhabi, and right before she left and moved back to the US, I had the chance to TAM once in person with Samala, and she is 365 days TAM is her handle. So I have a taste of what it's like to be in person and sharing that energy, and that is a goal for me in my Tracy Anderson method journey for sure. But really the Zooms that we have all either created or that I've hosted or that I've joined, those are the ultimate workout partners across time zones, across the globe. I also have hosted Zooms in different moments in the past couple of years, and every once in a while, I'll be connecting with someone on Instagram, and we might say oh, okay, let's plan to do a one-on-one, and that's been really fun too. So yeah, I find it really motivating, and I find it it's shared energy is really the core of it for me, including with you.
It's all about that energy, and it comes through screens, it comes through, Instagram and Zoom rooms and all of that, which I think is really, really helpful. I'm curious, how did you discover the Tamily, and how did you get involved with the Tamily? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Discover the Tamily through Instagram. Mostly because once I started rebounding, going back to the trampoline, I started following Tracy eventually, and things just started popping up in my feed, and anyone who was doing rebounding that caught my eye on Instagram that was also doing Tracy Anderson method, then I was able to start following them. So I was a follower of Tamily and trying to figure out what this community was from the outside. And then I did purposefully make the decision when I moved to Abu Dhabi. I'm gonna create a TAM account, and I'm going to post, and I think the first hashtag I used was Tracy Anderson method. I didn't fact check that, but that's my memory, and that just led me to Tamily. And it's just been the most incredible growing interaction of my life, honestly, ever since then. So I think sorry, you had asked me about the challenges that I didn't get into that. So my early connectivity with Tamily would be just seeing that someone was doing a 3-day challenge. I want to move every day, or I want to move for 20 days, or I would like to move. I know that there is a legacy of people who do 100 days of TAM, and so many people kind of clocking in their days. And so that helped me grow connectivity with the Tamily as well. Yeah. For anyone who's joined, I just want to take a moment and break the fourth wall and let you know what is going on here. So we were having some technical difficulties. I'm joining myself on the Ask Tamily account, and I have Emily, my interviewer, on Zoom next to me on the computer. So you're hearing her voice interview me. And I, just in case anyone was like, what's going on?
We could just tell them I'm at your house.
Dang,
I'm just hiding in
dang, I
another
ruined it.
room. We're working. I think this is great, and it's, you know, just another reason why the Tamily is such a great community and supportive and understanding. So we are figuring it out. I would love if you're comfortable sharing. You had mentioned how the method has kind of impacted your journey and even some of your very recent experience with surgery. Are you comfortable telling us a little bit about that, and how has the method helped you through that?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for asking me that question. Before I jump in, Emily, I'll just acknowledge that I think there are some questions I'll probably jump to and have a look at in a minute, but thank you for that. This is connected to, I think, my kind of how I would answer, like, how I measure the results, or like what my why is for doing the method. And it's really like an evolution of starting really as a focus on my physical body, just like many people, to helping me, a method and a tool to help me process emotion, process what's going on in my life. Okay. My first experience with both the method and Tamily support that was beyond the physical was right before the pandemic. I lost someone really close to me, and it was, you know, sad in and of itself, but I wasn't able to travel back for the memorial. And that was my first experience of realizing how important the method and working out on the mat and working out with the Tamily, you know, even if it's just like quiet support on Instagram, how important that is in my life and how it continues to be important. And what you were referencing is the fact that, you know, if we had this interview, Emily, like before November, I would have answered that then from there, the pandemic and connecting to Tamily that way. I mean, everything from the way that Kristen created, you know, maybe about me in those first early months where we all shared something different about each other, you know, every day, to the Zooms that we just all started doing. But in November, at the end of November, because I went and got my annual mammogram screening, which I do every year as a follow-up to something from a couple of years ago that was found. I was diagnosed with early stage breast cancer. I had a lumpectomy in early December to remove a very tiny but cancerous tumor, and Cruella is what we called her. So after Cruella was cut out, I just, during the whole month of January, went through radiation treatment, and I just finished that on Friday. And so it's hard for me to put into words how meaningful, first, the method, having the method and being a student of the method and being a follower of the method and having that as my exercise, something that I have been turning to, not just as a daily form of fitness, but really holistically to help me process so many aspects of my life. That was already with me. So when my doctors were saying, okay, you have to do this, this, and this, and by the way, every day you have to do some kind of exercise, and exercise is going to have to be incorporated into your life. For me, that wasn't a scary, like, oh my gosh, I have to start something new, or I have to join a gym, or I have to get a trainer, because I have Tracy, I have the method, and then let's move into the Tamily. So right now, again, this moment at this interview is really me feeling connected to the Tamily because of, let me take a breath so I don't cry during the incredible support that I have received since I went for my first mammogram and had to go back for a biopsy, really is where it starts. But how it's expanded and what I've received in terms of love and support and just the constant boosts. Yeah. So the method for me and the Tamily for me is what is there for any of us through thick and thin.
I love that.
Love you all.
Thank you for sharing. Also wanted to let you know that because we have such an awesome Ask Tamily crew, I am able to see the questions coming in the chat, so that way you don't have to navigate that and try to figure that out as well.
Yeah.
So I will incorporate those in as best as I can, and make sure that we can still keep our flow going. And it's always hard to transition away from something a bit more heavy, but I appreciate you sharing that. And again, that's the common thread throughout the Tamily, is this longevity of support and building a real foundation of true friendship. And now I'm going to be the one who's like tearing up as well, but I'm really glad that you have that support as well. So
you're a big part of it too, Emily.
Well, I love you. All right, we're going to lighten things up a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of other questions as well. So Elizabeth, Rainbow Warrior Tam, was curious about how did you get into low impact cardio, and how do you really feel that the difference is between low impact and some of the other cardios, dance cardios that are available?
Oh yeah, great question. As someone who declared herself, I'm all about the low impact right now. And hi, Elizabeth. I like, one isn't necessarily better than the other, but right now in my life, I'm choosing low impact for two reasons. Low impact was what I started with, so there's a little bit of a comfort level there. So even though I love the new content, it's amazing. I love trying different classes with different trainers. I can't wait till I'm like kind of cleared to do more so I can try the latest that have come up that I've been seeing people posting about. So the comfort, I still go back to like the early 2019 low impacts, like with Maria D and Lashana and Joy, and I'm so grateful, Tracy, to you and your team for still making that content available. It's like this amazing archive that we can turn to. But there is a little bit of like a mental switch that I need when I learn the dances that I just don't have the bandwidth for right now with other things that are going on in my life, to be honest. So this is my personal reason. It isn't an assessment of what to do over the other, because I've also admitted that I include rebounding in I've also shared that I include rebounding in my routine as well. So the low impact is fun. It's 30 minutes. It like makes me break out into a sweat. If I am feeling like extra sore, or I'm feeling like I danced too much in the week, and like I said with my tile floors, that I need a little bit of a break, it's there for me as well. So yeah, those are my whys. It's fun.
Well, thank you for sharing. I think it is helpful just to have a little bit more background on why you're choosing which options at this point in time. So I have a couple of other questions. I'm actually going to combine them into one, if I can, for you. So Ezra was curious about how did the themed music TAMs come about, and Hannah also asked, when is the next one? So not that you have to decide when the next one is, but I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about these special themed music TAMs and when we might consider doing another one.
Yeah. One of my favorite topics to talk about is music and TAM. yeah, like I need to be thoughtful about like the origins, and as an archivist, I'm like, the origins, when did it really start? I just we were all, many of us were already connecting on music, right, with Tam. So for me, from my perspective, in like the late months of 2019 and the early months of 2020, Tracy had this really neat thing where they were she would create the content, and then the trainers would record their version of it with their own playlist on Spotify. I loved that. I was already making my own playlist for like later in the week, after doing the class a couple of times. And so many of us were like just bonding through our posts about how much we love the music, or like already seeing people sharing playlists that they were making. And when we started getting closer and bonding through Zooms, I think it was just talking about music and how much we loved music, or someone would host a Zoom. This is in the early months of 2020 of the pandemic, and would, love the playlist. And I think it was the Grateful Dead conversation that had a few of us get together for like a themed Zoom, and that was super fun to put together because it was collaborative, and so we each got to think about our favorite songs, and then our DJ, Tamily DJ, Kristen, was able to sync the arms as best she could, and like that's really where it started. So I don't know, I think that was May or June 2020. And then we just all started talking about the different music that we love. We did from Grateful Dead, it's not too much of a leap. We did the Fish Tam jam, and I loved that because that was really global. Like, that was the first themed music Tam, I think, because I remember Colleen and Adelaide joined us at like midnight, and it was U.S. ladies at 9 a.m. and me and whoever in Europe was joining, the time zones there. So it was super fun. And then we just started a group and just, what are we going to do this month, and ideas and people's, favorite genres. We just come together with the collaborative playlist, and it's just fun. It's just fun. It's joy, really, is what it is. And if we are in the middle of a pandemic and need to find ways to keep, ourselves lifted, it might as well be around music. One of the things that we did when it started to grow was to say, okay, let's just say the first Sunday of the month, let's do these themed TAMs, and totally tried to make everyone realize, like, okay, this is an inclusive thing if you want to join. And so DM me if you want the link. And I was able to host a few times. I think Emily or Hannah, you hosted a couple of times. But yeah, so the Sunday in June that we were meant to do it landed last summer on my birthday. And I just was thinking of ways, still staying at home during the pandemic, like, okay, how do I want to celebrate this year's birthday? And other ladies have done this as well. It's like, what better thing can I think of is to tam with Tamily. And then, who to me are all the strongest women I have ever met, worked out with, known, been inspired by. So that's where I really dug into Strong Woman Tam, and to me that's kind of the peak of the themes, for sure. I loved that so much, and I think when the next one is really just when we can get it together and come up with a theme, and someone can host, and the stars will align. And I'm looking forward to, like, when my life settles down a little bit, now that I'm finished with treatment, so that I can join or, contribute in some way to the next one. But to me, the themed TAMs, the Zooms, any kind of meetup that gets to happen, it really is underscoring for me what I love about this community, which is how organically, and I think about what other people have said who have been really part of the Tamily since the beginning, is like how organically these like community boosts happen, whether it's a meetup or something like the themed Tam Zoom. I love it.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I would personally say to anybody who's watching now, if you're interested in a theme Zoom and you're willing to host one, send us a message, because it would be fun to get that started and have more people participate. It's a really cool experience to connect with Tamily over something so special as music and the method across the world. So we have a couple of other questions as well, Lauren. Suzanne has said, you're such a beautiful light, shining light in the Tamily, and is curious about how do you keep such a positive spirit even when you are facing challenges and difficulties. So we'd love to hear that. And Shannon is also seconding that question as well.
Shannon! Thank you, Suzanne. That's such a nice thing to say, and I really appreciate that. I feed off of the energy of others in the Tamily, and I'll be like totally transparent. Obviously, every minute of my life is not joy, positivity, but I just feel like it makes me feel better if I can hold on to something positive or something good every time I show up for myself. Like, I acknowledge that I'm also showing up for myself and coming to moments like when it's really hard and maybe I'm not feeling my best, but I just draw inspiration from anyone who's overcome something hard or is in the middle of overcoming something hard. The fact that we are such a safe space for each other, that we know that about each other because we're feeling comfortable to share that. So I know that I'm not alone, and I know that everything that I've received from the Tamily, I can show up and try to give that back, if that makes sense, like a pay it forward kind of thing. But it just makes me feel better to take a deep breath and try to give myself that hour where everything's going to be okay.
We all need that. I'm curious, through all of your connections with the Tamily from a global perspective, and having experienced doing the method since 2019, is there a piece of advice perhaps that stands out to you through any of these connections that's helped you along your journey and that you would be willing to share with the Tamily?
A piece of advice. It's more been because I feel so grateful that I have had so many opportunities, maybe because of where I'm positioned, my time zone. I've had a chance to connect with like lots of different Zooms and grown friendships through Zoom with so many different women who have been connected to the method, so many different, like the variety of people's journeys. I've kind of picked up things along the way. So, for example, meeting people who've been doing the Tracy Anderson method, for 10 years and might be in the advanced lane, sharing with me that they were doing like the beginner or a version of beginner for like 5-6 years before they leveled up. And just hearing, that's just like one example. Just watching the Ask Tamily is really, important for me to realize that like, we are each we are each in our own lane, students of ourselves, to be able to continue doing this workout. And I can't really point to one piece of advice, but I would say just just every time I hear a story of someone's journey, it reminds me that like mine is unique and we can all still be bonded by the workout, but still do what's best for us.
I love that.
You might have said that to me. Maybe I'm quoting you back to you. I don't know. It's so possible.
We're all to each other, which is good. We should continue doing that too. It's an important reminder for everybody. So I'd love to chat just about a couple of personal items, if that's okay with you, because, and I know you mentioned being an archivist, but would you tell us a little bit about when you're not tamming, you know, how do you spend your time? Tell us a little bit about yourself in that regard.
Yeah, sure. Well, living here in Abu Dhabi when it's this time of year, and my friends here in this region know what I'm talking about. When I'm not tamming, when I'm not working, I want to be outside as much as possible. And I've fallen in love with the mangroves here in the UAE. Sometimes when I have a chance to pull out my phone, I'll snap something, and I know I've shared that on my TAM account sometimes. So I love doing that. Lately, I started this kind of at the end of summer leading into the fall. It's been a little bit interrupted by other life circumstances, but I'm still coming back to it, and that is this mantra I've tried or latched onto, which is trying to find ways to activate different parts of my brain, like, you know, all the time toward the goal of I don't know, better quality of life. Like a night, you know, so like, for example, I've loved doing like fiber art, so knitting, crocheting. I'm doing that with also some fellow Tammers, bonding about, you know, that, playing the guitar, traveling, reading, hanging out with my nieces on FaceTime because I miss their guts so much. Auntie life is the best. Those are just a few ways that I would answer that question. You know, it is probably a good opportunity for me to just like acknowledge my professional identity as an archivist and what that means. And it is something that I've done for the last 20 years. Gives me an opportunity to bond with a couple of other Tammers who have also who are also, you know, in that field or overlap that field, which I think is an awesome small world moment. But essentially, I've done that work with museums, in universities, for the government, for nonprofit organizations. Now I'm back in higher education, and you know, I took a gap year from it actually to explore if it was really something I thought was my calling for the rest of my life, and I went away from it for a couple of years, but I didn't stay away long, so I feel like it's a big part of my identity, archiving the past, interviewing people, creating archives. Yeah, so I hope that gives a well-rounded picture in a 1 minute answer of, well, more than 1 minute, but
I think it does. It's perfect. And along those lines, do you think you'll stay in Abu Dhabi for a long time, or do you have any plans to travel elsewhere?
I don't have any plans other than continuing to stay here, to be an archivist and librarian here for the next few years, you know, which is my contract. But I left my life in the U.S. because it's not that I didn't love what I was doing there. I just I have this curious mind, and I wanted to see how it was done in other parts of the world. And I feel really safe and comfortable in Abu Dhabi. I love the weather. There's so much more to explore. I love the cosmopolitan crossroads of different cultures that I have the opportunity, you know, to connect with and engage with. So I'm kind of living in the moment right now. So the present, not just living in the moment, but living in like, month to month, year to year. I like living as a global citizen, to use that term, and I like doing that here in Abu Dhabi. And I really look forward to when things open up even further so that I can host anyone who's passing through or enjoy more Tamily meetups. But I'll just add one thing to that, if you don't mind, Emily, which is to say I moved here with this idea that I would do all of that. And it turns out that the friends I've made from different countries and cultures and backgrounds are the friends I've made through the Tamily. And that to me is something so special. And there's no words to how that worked out.
It all works out how it should. And I will say, it's super cute to see all the girls in Europe are saying come to Europe and kind of fighting over that. So you have
I'm not paying attention to what's being said, ladies. I'm sorry. I love you all so much.
It's all sweet. Everybody wants you to come and visit. And so once travels are more available, definitely have to make that happen because
I would love it.
I would like to and them as well. All right. So I wanted to, because I know we're a little bit over time, we're a little over schedule, but hopefully that's okay with everybody if we take another 5 to 8 minutes, just so we can give the full time. And I know there's a bunch more questions. I had a couple of questions. We wanted to start adding in and collecting some advice and tips from Tamily members too, just thinking about gear and equipment and recommendations like that. So I'm curious if there is a piece of equipment that you use for TAM that you can't live without.
Well, it pertains to TAM only because TAM is the thing that's my workout. But the first thing I'll answer is, this is within the last 6 months, I have become such a fan of toe spacers. Is that the answer you were expecting to hear? I don't know. I'm like a big fan of foot health, and toe spacers have I've integrated them into my life, and I really appreciate them. And I was nervous about if I would be able to do dance cardio with them, and I can. And they have really helped with my stability a lot. And then recently, just because I've had to kind of watch out for this area of my body, I have used, it's not something I'm giving anyone advice about, but I'll just be honest that my yoga pillow has been really helpful for me to be able to modify some of the moves, even in beginner, where on my right side, I want to be a little bit more mindful of how I'm managing my weight transfer without hurting myself. So, but I have the basics: a mat, the weights, the ankle weights, both the heavier and the lighter set, and yeah. So the only other thing I'll add, it's not really equipment, but just Spotify and my music always needs to come with me too.
I love that. I didn't know really anything about toe spacers, so I'm curious, you wear them while you're working out, or is it a recovery in the evening type of thing, or all of the above? Since I've mostly been working remotely, I wear them as much as I can during the day. So that includes with shoes, or when I'm just, walking around or at home. So, but yeah, I find that they really help. Do some yoga for your toes. Stretch those babes out. I love it. And in this same vein, I'm curious, do you use anything either recently or over the long term to help with additional cushion or support for your knees or your wrists?
um, when I was doing Tam like last year, I had like those, for lack of a better word, they're like yoga discs. They're like silicone discs, and those kind of helped me like get my grounding, so that I wasn't just pushing on my wrist, which is a thing that I had to try. I still am mindful, and I'm a student around trying to keep my body weight balanced that way, and those were like props that helped me. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're like, they kind of just look like, they're not the discs that you do that like sliding ski workout, but no, I mean, it's not so much equipment, but I started integrating, I posted this once and I shared it with a lot of people. I started integrating this sort of ankle foot like warm-up, alignment warm-up to when before I work out, especially dance cardio. So I think just warming up your feet and your ankles and your body, like in whatever way works best for you. I mean, there's a few different resources out there in addition to what any of the trainers might share with any of us. But that to me does more than any kind of prop or equipment can do to help me. But you know, I've heard other people say this in their interviews, and I'll affirm it as well. Like since I started doing the method, like I stopped having lower back pain. I stopped having plantar fasciitis, which is something that would pop up every now and then for me with other types of workouts. And I'm, you know, touch wood, I'm lucky. Like I don't have any kind of injury, but I'm gonna keep doing like the warm up and the stretching to try to help that.
I think that's a great advice to anybody, whether you're new or if you're more experienced with the method, like giving yourself the proper time to warm up your joints, warm up your feet, your wrists. Everything is just going to help you perform and also help keep your body safe, you know, through moving, which I think is great, especially for those of us that like to hit the mat pretty frequently. So Lauren, this time has gone by so fast.
One of the most interesting hours of my life.
But you know what? It's been great. And I love your flexibility to make this work on the fly. And we got creative with it. And that's what the Tamily is all about. Before we move to close out this interview, though, I'm wondering if you will play Two Truths and a Lie with us.
Absolutely.
All right. And so I'm going to ask everybody in the chat to please engage too, because of course, normally you would see me on here and I would be guessing, but you can't see me. So we need everybody in the chat to participate. So let's go ahead and get started. Tell us your two truths and a lie, and we're going to try to figure out what's the right one.
All right. So number one, my hometown is Chicago. Number two, I have walked all the way down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon and all the way back up in one day. And number three, I am a member of the Ask Tamily team.
These all sound very believable to me. So I am on Instagram and I am looking too. So I'm looking to see what people are guessing. So if you guys could type in, what do you think is the truth? Well, no, what is the lie? I guess, Lauren, are we playing this two truths and a lie?
Two truths and a lie. Which one is the lie?
Okay. Let's see. We've got some guesses in here. Elo says 1 no, 2 yes, 3 question mark. Deidre says Canyon is the lie. Deb says 3 is the lie. Nadia says 3 is the lie. Ezra, I'm not sure what yours is. Lie, true, true. Oh, okay, so she thinks the first one is the lie. Okay, these are some good guesses, guys. Grand Canyon, yes. A lot of people think the third one is the lie. 1 and 2 are true. Shannon says the third one is the lie. And Maggie says Chicago is the lie. Man, I can't keep up fast enough. You guys are doing so good.
Deanna, oh, I'm seeing it now too. Aww.
Claire says number 2 is the lie, which is the Grand Canyon. Elo says you can definitely do the canyon thing. I agree. Cheryl says, I know you're from the Midwest, but I don't think Chicago.
Ooh, this is fun.
This is fun. There's no consensus. Nadia says, I think you're from Chicago. Kristen says you're an NYC girl. Goldie says the canyon is true. Kristen says Chicago's the lie.
This is
Okay.
giving me a chance to really appreciate everybody who's here. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining and being here.
Number 1 is the lie. 2 is true.
Kristen,
Okay.
I can't take the suspense.
They're like, just tell us already. Okay, well, so...
Which one is the
I'm
lie?
Yeah, I know the truth, but you go ahead and tell us which one is the lie.
Well, I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. So number 1, the fact that Chicago is my hometown. Yes, I am a Midwesterner and I love that city, but is the lie. I did have the amazing and also really intense experience of hiking the Grand Canyon all the way down and back. Not my choice, but it was something that I'm still proud of that I accomplished. And I don't know if I should turn it over to you or Suzanne or...
Well, I think it's going to be me because of this weird way that we're doing
Yes.
it. But yes, so this also means that number 3 is true. So Lauren is an official member of the Ask Tamily corporate team. She is joining us as the Chief of Strategy and Joy, which is just going to be a huge element and a big win for our group. We have such an amazing team, and we are so excited to have you join us, Lauren, and for being such a champ for your interview to learn how to work IG Live and kind of figure out these different technical difficulties. And we'll get it all ironed out. But Lauren is going to be joining us, so everybody participating in Ask Tamily interviews in the future and other things that we may embark on, you guys are also going to be hearing from Lauren. So welcome to you. We're so excited to announce this. I know that Nicole, Suzanne, and Kristen and myself are truly thrilled to have you as part of the team. So we wanted to make this great announcement. I wish that I could, cheers toast you on video or something like that. But welcome aboard. We're so happy to have you, Lauren.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to contribute back to the Tamily in some way. That's the most exciting part for me. So I'm ready to dive in and help out and just contribute to this network and growing it. And thank you so much. You all are amazing.
Well, thank you for spending your time with us this late afternoon for you, early evening for you, and for everybody joining across the globe. We really appreciate you and your support of Ask Tamily, and we will see you guys around soon for another interview. And thanks again, Lauren, for joining. I hope you guys all have a great day, great evening, and a great start to the next week ahead. Take care, everybody.